Christian, it's been 37 years in this crazy ride that's being a race car driver. You said that your decision to retire was based on a package of factors, including your relationship with your family, your age, and you said that you felt that the timing was right. How does a driver know when the timing is right?
Wow, you started out with a very good question. I guess it's a feeling. It's something that was a lot stronger than me, and basically I made the decision right after qualifying in Motorsport. I am going to admit that like the last year and a half or year, it was slowly going through my mind. It wasn't like a huge bomb that just dropped and okay, that's it, period. But what was going through my mind was, when is it going to happen? Is it going to be in 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years, whatever? And I don't know, on Saturday afternoon, I had a feeling that was much bigger than myself, basically. And I said, no, like that's it. I enjoyed the ride. I loved the ride. And I basically thought it was the time, and I'm happy with the decision, and that's it. But having said that, I don't see me never driving a race car again. I'm just not going to do it on a professional level and being there all the time and having the amount of commitment that you need to have. But honestly, I'm not thinking about it right now, but I see me doing another long distance race here or there, especially with Enzo and Pietro that are just starting their racing careers in cars right now. So in a couple of years, I see me driving something with them.
Last year, in an interview following a question where you were asked about, potentially retiring and when you'd know if the timing was right, you said, and I quote you, "It's very simple. The day I lose and I don't get upset, heartbroken, and the day I win and just shrug my shoulders and walk away and don't feel excited, there's no reason for me to be here anymore." Has it reached that point?
I guess that was one of the feelings I had. As I mentioned to you, I think it was something that I was feeling that was a lot bigger than me, and it was sort of, I'm not going to say uncontrollable, but very close. And I went up to Gary and Bob that basically run the team, and I looked at them and I said, "I don't know how to start, guys. Thank you very much, but I think that the time has arrived, and I'm not going to do it anymore." And then they looked at me and then they said, "But you need a race tomorrow." I said, no, I'm not that crazy. Like, I know my commitments, and I know I have a race tomorrow, which I am going to fulfill 100% with the same motivation. I think at my age, with my experience, I know how to separate the emotional with the being professional, and that was it. So basically we sat down, we ironed out everything, what would happen until the end of the year, what would happen beyond, and I guess it was the right move for everyone. But I got out of the car and
just felt it was right.
Yeah, just felt it was right, and that was it.
You said that your third victory at the Rolex 24 had sort of been a catalyst also towards this decision. And I know it's speculation, but I can't help but wonder, had you not won this year's event, do you think you might have delayed your decision to retire?
Yes, maybe that could be a possibility, especially because in 2017 we came so close. We were leading the race and we lost the race with 2 laps to go. So that was a huge monkey on top of the whole team and on top of the drivers also. We're not going to go into details whose fault it was, if it was whatever this or that. Like, I don't care. It was what it was. Yep. And realistically, we lost the race with 2 laps to go. So then we moved on, and it was a huge relief when we managed to win the race this year, and we were happy. Like Philippe, João, and also myself, we were extremely happy, and and no doubt that it was a great result for the team. We managed to finish 1-2, another victory for Cadillac. So it was one of those almost perfect weekends, if not perfect weekend. But I guess everything in life has a beginning, middle, and end.
You've always expressed tremendous gratitude for having João Barbosa and Felipe Albuquerque as your teammates. How important is it for a driver in any racing series to have such a good relationship with their teammates?
Well, it's important in any racing series, but in this type of racing more than ever, or more than anything else, it's very extremely important, because you're fundamentally sharing the car with other two guys or another driver, depending if you're doing the really long distance races or if you're doing the slightly shorter ones. João and myself have been together since 2013, and it has been an awesome ride for both of us. We understand each other very well. What he feels is basically the same stuff that I feel in the car, and from I think 16 onwards, Philippe came on board, and definitely he was a huge add-on to the team. He brings a lot of energy, youth, a lot of speed, and experience. He's been doing specifically these type of cars in Europe for a good amount of time, and I think it definitely elevated the whole team another notch, and that was very, very good to us. We also, like João and I, we also get along very well with him, so it was almost one of those magic pairings.
In almost 4 decades of professional racing, what stands out to you as your most memorable win?
Daytona is always very important, just because the pace of the race, especially these last couple of years, it's almost a 24-hour sprint race over there, and it's such a long race. So many things can happen. When I go to sleep in the motorhome in the middle of the night, like I try to sleep, but I wake up, and then I always peek through the window and look at the pylon to see if the number is still,
make sure.
to make
okay.
sure that we're okay. And I'm trying to sleep, but yeah, I can sleep, but I can't sleep.
Too much adrenaline.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get the knock on the door at 3 o'clock in the morning. Hey, time to work. So that stood out for me a lot. I would say Formula 3000 Championship, winning the last race of the year back in 1991, that was really important, because it opened the doors for me to make it into Formula 1.
And speaking of Formula 1, you were involved in one of the most odd/spectacular finishes to a Grand Prix ever. Monza 1993, I was 1 year old at the time.
Wow.
Forgive and forget, never forget, where does that leave you?
I would say I'm never going to forget, because I was born again. If the car hadn't done a complete 360 and landed on the back wheel, like I probably wouldn't be here talking to you right now. I got out of the car. Piero came over to apologize, and he said, "Man, I don't know what happened. You moved, I moved, I moved, you moved," and it was sort of like in his mind, he called it a racing incident. I was so happy with the situation that I managed to unbuckle myself, get out of the car, and nothing had ever happened to me. So I looked at him and I said, "Lascia stare." Like, it's okay. Let's not even talk about it. So,
I'm happy just to be alive.
Exactly. I'm happy to be here, and I'm not going to go into the situation of pointing fingers and this and that. If it was this, if it was that. Like, it was what it was, and I'm happy to be here talking to you. So let's move on. And honestly, this is the way that I treated it.
Yeah. Well, Christian, thank you so much for joining us here on Motorsport Report again. We wish you best of luck, and we hope to have you again after you win next year's Rolex 24 at Daytona, hopefully.
That could be really cool. Thanks.